In the last 72 hours, the map of the world's money changed forever. It wasn't a stock market crash. It wasn't a crypto bubble bursting. It was a hostile takeover of an entire nation's bank account. Look at this carefully. This isn't a movie. This is Operation Southern Spear. While you were sleeping, U.S. Special Forces rappelled onto so-called narco vessels. But let's be honest with each other. They weren't there for the narcotics. They were there for the black gold underneath the hull. The United States military just secured the world's largest oil reserve. Let that sink in. The U.S. government has effectively seized control of 19.4% of the planet's proven crude reserves. That's more than Saudi Arabia, more than Iran. Nicolas Maduro is now in custody. The Caribbean has become a militarized zone. And the price at the pump? It's about to get very, very weird. The U.S. just claimed the world's largest oil reserve. But here's the terrifying part. This isn't just about oil. This is about the complete psychological rebranding of power. It's the birth of what many are now calling the Donroe Doctrine. And if you think this doesn't affect your wallet, you are dead wrong. Here's how the Great Oil Heist actually went down. Let's rewind to January 2026. The narrative sold to the public was clean. Classic good versus evil. The White House called it a counter-narcotics operation. We were told Maduro was the head of a cartel. And yes, the narco vessels were real. The cartel influence was real. But in behavioral economics, we call this moral licensing. You justify the massive reward by pointing to a smaller moral violation. You focus on the drugs so you don't feel guilty about the oil. And the real goal? It wasn't hidden. It was tweeted. On January 12th, 2026, as the operation launched, the former president, now a power broker, posted, "Venezuela now has the United States. There will be no more oil or money going to Cuba. Zero." That is a blockade. That's an economic stranglehold. But look at the subtext. If Venezuela has the United States, who owns Venezuela? This brings us to the capture. Maduro didn't just fall, he was pushed. And the psychology here is fascinating. This wasn't framed as an occupation, it was framed as a leveraged buyout. And in corporate terms, Venezuela was a distressed asset. Trump didn't mince words months earlier when he set the stage for all of this. They took our oil rights, he said. We want it back. But the most revealing part wasn't the grievance. It was the method.
We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country.
That isn't politics. That's a statement of intent. A sovereign nation treated like a failing corporation. But not everyone inside the power structure wanted to sign that deal. Enter Marco Rubio. The vice president saw the fallout coming. He saw the risk of creating a Latin American Iraq. So he immediately tried to put out the fire, clarifying that there would be no direct governing role, only a policy blockade. Here's the disconnect. One side says, we're going to run the country. The other says, we aren't governing. Which one is true? It doesn't matter. If you control the oil, you control the country. Now let's talk about why this move is both brilliant and incredibly dangerous. Most people think they took the oil, So we're rich. Wrong. Venezuela isn't a gold mine. It's a fixer-upper, a massive, broken, decaying machine. In 2006, Venezuela was producing 3.3 million barrels a day. Today, less than 1 million. The infrastructure is rotting, and the engineers fled. The wells are clogged. And this is the number that keeps Wall Street awake at night, $183 billion. That's the estimated cost just to restore production to functional levels. Who has $183 billion to gamble on a country that was just invaded? The US private sector. But only if the price is right. And this is where the psychology of money kicks in. It's called the sunk cost trap. Once the United States spends that money, we cannot leave. We aren't visiting. We are moving in. We are marrying the house. And here's the dirty secret most people don't know. US refineries actually need Venezuelan oil. American shale produces light, sweet, crude, clean, and easy to refine. But the refineries in Texas and Louisiana, they were built decades ago for heavy, sour crude, the thick sludge from Venezuela's Orinoco belt. You can't easily retool a refinery. It costs billions. So this capture isn't about democracy. It's about feeding the beast. The American industrial system needs a specific fuel, and Venezuela is the only grocery store that sells it. Now here's the part no one is talking about. The real lock-in mechanism. The clause that bypasses Congress. The Asset Forfeiture and Leasing Act of 2026. This allows the United States to seize Venezuelan state assets, Citgo, refineries, gold reserves, and lease them to private American companies. The revenue goes to rebuilding. But operational control, that stays with the corporations. Geopolitical analysts have called this the largest infrastructure play in history, a $500 billion gamble. That's not just fixing pipes. That's ports, roads, security corridors, permanent presence. But here's the risk. As Venezuelan oil floods the market, prices drop. Analysts predict oil could fall toward $50 a barrel, and that breaks Russia, cripples OPEC, destroys Iran's budget. This is the psychology of money applied to geopolitics. Strip sovereignty, break institutions, bypass courts, leverage resources to lower domestic costs. So here's the question you need to answer. Is this justice? Removing a dictator, lowering fuel prices, breaking hostile regimes? Or is this the largest act of grand larceny in modern history? Because one thing is certain. The map of the world's money has changed. And the United States just took the biggest piece of the board. Don't just scroll past this. In this new era of hard power, you have to pick a side. Comment below, justice or piracy? And this story isn't over. China won't take this lying down. So stay tuned for the next video. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and also hit the like button